Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Stephanie Stevens Show. Tonight, we are discussing the vintage years. Now, your fabulous, fabulous host, Miss Stephanie Stevens.
Well, hello, everyone. How's everyone doing out there? Well, thank God you guys tuned in tonight to my show, the Stephanie Stevens T, right here on YouTube. Tonight, my very special guest is Retro Matti. It's all about the vintage years of porn, fetishes, and sexual experiences. We'll be talking about all of that tonight with Retro Matti right here on the Stephanie Stevens Show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe. We have lots and lots more coming to you. Now, right now, I'm going to welcome my very special guest to the stage. Please welcome to the Stephanie Stevens Show. This is Retro Matti.
Hi. All right.
Hello.
Hi, Matti.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. I hope the recording thing was okay.
Yeah, it was great.
All right.
Thank you for coming on my show
You're
tonight.
absolutely welcome.
I hear so much about your line of clothing online. Now, tonight, we're going to talk about a lot of different things on the Stephanie Stevens Show. And like I said, you are young, energetic, and you have your own clothing line of underwear and different things. So tonight, I want you to talk to us about those things. Is that okay with you?
Sounds great.
All right. Now, for my audience that doesn't know Retro Matti, his website is retromatti.com. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So check him out and see what he's selling. He's got lots of different underwear for all of you men and trans women out there that like a different way of wearing your undies. Okay. Now we're gonna get right into the questioning tonight for Retro Matti. I just want to ask you now. You sent me in a couple of questions of things that I should ask you because you want your audience to be clear about exactly what you are doing.
Well, you said the topic was vintage pornography, right? So
Yes.
yeah.
How would you describe your relationship to vintage pornography?
Well, I mean, as a child of the 80s, retro 70s and 80s porn was for me and for many of my generation the first exposure kind of to erotic film that I experienced anyway. We used to sneak into our parents' closets, or we had older siblings, and the style of retro pornography is really kind of one of the first that we were exposed to. So naturally, it leaves a kind of a lasting impression on us.
Oh, okay. Well, now that we all have impressions of our last sexual experience or our first time doing it. I know some of you got some stories out there for Stephanie Stevens. Let me know when you had your first experience. Send me those emails at misstoronto@hotmail.com. I want to hear all your stories, and you could probably be on the Stephanie Stevens Show, season 2. Now, so that describes your and your generation's personal relationship experiencing vintage and retro porn. What about professionally? Any connections there?
Well, I mean, it's kind of an aesthetic, really, overall. I mean, the clothing and especially like the intimate garments that you see in 70s and 80s porn, was very distinctive. And so, like with the high socks and the funky colored briefs of that era, with that in mind, I kind of got into designing retro-futuristic underwear and just based influenced by the styles from that era.
So you design and inspire retro underwear. Is it made here in Canada?
Yeah, in fact, actually, right now I make it all myself personally. A handmade every order on demand. Just in a small studio here in the Career Village. So just a half a block from where we're filming right now.
So what makes you different than other underwear makers?
Well, I mean, there's been different manufacturers that have brought back the bright colors and stuff, but I've actually brought into the design of the underwear modern features like seamlessness on the sides and a double front fly, so you can access whichever side you want. A lower hip fit as well. Although I'll have to tell you, a lot of my best-selling styles have been actually the high waist ones because it's really hot, in the culture right now. But all of the designs and stuff are original and based on stuff. It's just inspired by the designs from that era.
Okay, so you have a pair on now.
I do, yes.
Okay, well, could you stand up and show our
Sure.
audience?
Sure. These ones have pockets actually in them. Yeah. See
They have pockets.
Yeah, these ones have pockets. So you can stash your stuff in it. So if you go to the beach, you can keep your stuff in your underwear. You can walk around in your underwear if you want. It's great for the summer. It's been really hot out, right? So.
So where can we get your underwear, your homemade collection?
Yeah, it's at retromatti.com. It's M-A-T-T-I with an I, although you can spell it either way, it'll still send you to the right place. So yeah, RETROMATTI.com. And we ship all around the world. We've had orders from everywhere, like Japan, Germany, you name it.
So in vintage pornography, often the costumes were very gender binary. Is it true of your product line as well?
Actually, we take pride in the fact that actually almost all our products are gender neutral. Given the popularity of like guy style briefs for girls, I think it's time the world's ready. Most of our customers have been guys, but not all.
Now, as you can see, I have a few porn magazines in the back here on the Stephanie Stevens Show. Now, the reason we brought these porn magazines is because I wanted to ask you just a couple of questions. Now, your first experience of coming out and knowing that you like men and women, which did you look at porn magazines?
Oh, I mean, when you're hitting puberty, like you try and expose yourself as much as possible to figure out who you are and to figure out what you're attracted to. Absolutely.
So, what kind of magazines were you actually drawn to? What type of magazines?
Well, I was of the generation we didn't really have as many magazines. We wrote with on the internet. It's actually a lot more of a digital kind of thing now.
Okay, so what if I was to say I went home with Retro Matti, what kind of porn would we be watching?
Oh, I do love porn from that era. So Catalina, Cadino, Wymack. One of my favorite production companies was Nova. Actually, they were actually one of the first companies to introduce clothing as actually part of the actual, like not an incidental thing, but actually part of the experience of the scene. Like actually added, enhanced to the scene. So they'd have like football players, in their football outfits. It's really kind of nice aesthetic.
So football fetishes.
Well, sure, why not? Sports playing. I mean, what's more homoerotic than sports? A bunch of guys wrestling.
I spent a few times in those locker rooms.
I bet. Haven't we all?
Now, what I would say is, now, what is it that you like? You're designing this clothing line. What is it that you want your audience to know about the kind of clothes and underwear that you're actually designing? What is the message?
Well, I mean, you can be whoever you want to be. That's certainly part of it, and you can relive kind of the aesthetics of your childhood, or if you're younger and today, you can find new life in them, and be whoever you want to be. Be whatever gender you identify as, whatever your sexual interests are. It's for boys and for girls. If you like boys, if you like girls, if you like something in between, if you are something in between, that's totally fine. I'm something in between myself. So I think it's so great. And I really think that it's the kind of thing that is made of cotton and stuff. It's for everyone. It's really comfortable and yeah.
Okay. So now can I just ask? I know it's a little personal. You don't have to answer it if you don't want. Now, what was your first sexual experience like? You don't have to tell us in detail, but just tell us what it was like. Where did you do it?
I'm not sure if that's appropriate.
Just where did you do it?
At home.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, like most of us, we do it when our parents are gone to work. We bring somebody over and we sort of be like, oh yes. That for me, my first experience, I'm gonna be honest. I was in the backyard and my parents had bought a new refrigerator. And the box in the refrigerator, I used to play with the boy next door, and we rolled around in this refrigerator box, and we ended up on top of each other. I shouldn't say that. I miss your mom and dad. They're gone, but they would be shocked if they knew that I was rolling around in that refrigerator box in the backyard with that little boy next door. But I learned. Anyway. Now, what country would you say dominates the aesthetics of vintage porn?
Well, it's funny, you actually look at your magazines back there, you see a very American aesthetic both in color and in design there on that Inches magazine. So I would say it's most strongly associated with the United States because a lot of the porn from that era that we all remember and stuff, like Nova, like William Higgins and his Catalina stuff, it's all associated with kind of West Coast American, predominantly California. We have all these scenes of these California porn. Actually, during that era, I think porn was one of the largest exports of California for a while. Actually, even during that time. Yeah.
Well, I'm from Florida, and they used to have a really huge porn industry there. And I remember getting all of the Blue Boy magazines, and used to watch Jeff Stryker videos.
Oh, Jeff Stryker, yeah.
And even some of the old videos with the white guy Larry Holmes. You remember him from the 1970s? He died of AIDS, but he was big in a lot of big in the retro days and
Yeah.
in the vintage time. And those porn videos were very attractive because they showed the fantasies of a lot of us.
Yeah.
He sort of had a very large, and he people fantasize about that.
Yeah.
And today, now, would you say to the people out there, how do you think they should? Do you think they should hide how their sexuality and how they feel about different, like, let's say they like toys, or they like a different race, or they like different scenes, like being a doctor, nurse,
role playing.
role playing.
Yeah. I think you should celebrate who you are. I think you should never be apologetic for who you are. As long as you're, not stepping on anyone else's shoes, I think that you should be celebrating who you are as a whole. And so we spend all of our lives, just trying to figure out who we are, and so it may as well just like settle into it earlier on, and you'll be happier. It may be hard at first, but you'll eventually want to struggle to get there anyway. So you may as well, be who you are and be straightforward and upfront about things, and also but try to be dynamic too. So if you're talking about with a partner and stuff, it's a good idea to be upfront, but also be willing to compromise and stuff too, because everyone's pleasure is on the table.
So does that mean the majority of your customers are in the United States?
Well, there's a huge widespread influence of this American culture. So all this vintage porn goes around the world. Like we have 40% of our customers actually are from the States, but there's still a lot of cross-cultural appeal that you see like in Europe, and I guess our number two countries rather are the UK and Germany. So still a predominantly kind of like a Western influence, but still it's around the world.
Well, I just want to say thank you again for coming on my show.
Oh, my pleasure.
I know this is a little difficult,
okay.
But the reason I wanted to do this show is because I'm from that era, sort of the late 80s, 90s, and that's very retro. Now, like, back in the days, I used to love the retro singers and the disco singers, Sylvester, Sharon Red, Patrick Crowley. You're probably too young to know all these people. But I used to dance up a storm to Two Tons of Fun, Martha Wash. You remember her?
I don't, but I do remember that era having a lot more showmanship to it as well, and then the porn from that era too also has a lot more setup and stuff, and so it's got there's the anticipation, and they've done studies. They've found that the anticipation of pleasure is really kind of where the meat of the pleasure is. It's not the actual release; it's the actual all that setup all the way up to it. And so porn these days, is very much like cut and dry. It's very manufactured most often anyway, and so you don't get that nice setup, the nice like like all the preparatory scenes, that gets you worked up for the main event,
Oh, okay. Now, since you set up your company, RetroMatti.com, now, how are the sales? How are things going? How's your audience? Are you on Twitter?
Well, I think we might be on Twitter. I try to keep our social network and stuff live. We have a Facebook page, and we have I try to post stuff to Tumblr as well. I try to keep things broadcasted. I have things on Pinterest as well. I think that you can find our pins on Pinterest of the underwear as we release it. There's at least somewhat of an audience, so we've got some followers and things, but I'd like to make more sales so that we can actually reach a broader audience too.
So you say you have your underwear line is offered to trans women,
trans women and
men.
Yeah.
So now, which one of your underwear over there would represent trans men, and which one would represent trans women?
So most of the underwear that I have actually is, because of the way that they're constructed, it fits almost any type of genitals or any body parts down there. This one right here is pretty more shaped, I guess, for something that would go into the front pocket there. But these other ones here are perfectly fitted for either gender and for any genitals. So comfortable either way. Kind of the material, since it's a rib knit, it kind of like moves and contours to the body. So comfortable for anyone. My partner is a trans male, and he wears it, and I myself am bigendered and I wear it. So we have the different sets of genitals, and we've been fine. So I really think that most of our product line actually is for anyone, trans or otherwise. And as I think we're the first trans-owned underwear company actually in the world. And so as a trans-owned company and we're trying very hard to get out there and make ourselves make the trans community aware of our existence as well.
So did you hear that, Chaz Bono and Laverne Cox? Retro Matti has underwear for you. Oh yes. Now, how can retro porn costume exhibitionists, especially trans ones, contact you to be considered for modeling your product?
Yeah, well, we would really like to have, although we can't afford to pay them much right now, but we would love to have some trans models because I think it's really great to represent our community and to support the community. It's been really bad, throughout history for trans persons and finding jobs and stuff, and so we would love to enable things for them. So they can contact us if you'd like to be a trans model for our underwear company. We would love to have you, and we would like you to contact us on our website. You could either go to retromatti.com or you could email us at retromatti@gmail.com, which is RETROMATTI@gmail.com. You can email us anytime.
Now, you say you have a partner.
Mhm.
Now, has your partner worn any of your wear?
Oh yeah, he wears tons of my underwear all the time. Yeah, he loves them.
Okay. Now, is he the one helping you design them?
No, he just sometimes helps me out with some of the work I have to do with the factory in my studio, but and of course he helps me take care of our beast, our dog, and he also is just a good moral support for me. So he helps me out whenever he can. He's my partner and I love him very much.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, when you say that you make underwear, do you have anything else lined up, like cups, bras?
We just
different.
We just released actually the sports bras that I designed. We just released them in the past few days actually on the site. You can get the sports bras that match the colors of the underwear. So it's for, and it could be worn because they contour to the body. They can be worn by if you have breasts, if you don't, if you want breasts, if you don't want breasts, whichever you want, whichever kind of body you have, you'll support your body type. So it's for everybody. Just kind of have a matching aesthetic appeal that's the retro kind of color scheme.
So you're looking for a variety of different body types to model your products.
Absolutely, especially I'm really sick of actually this narrow view of beauty from all the fashion and perfume boutique advertisements. So anybody can be beautiful, and we'd love to have anyone who shines brightly as themselves, with any body type to come model up the underwear for us. We would actually really love to have you.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into the Stephanie Stevens Show. Today we had Retro Matti on, and I just want to say thank you. Make sure that you guys get out there, check out his line, check out his website. That's retromatti.com.
Yep.
I'm Stephanie Stevens, and on YouTube I'm Stephanie Stevens T. Check me out on there. I'm on Twitter at Miss Toronto 2. Add me. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the Stephanie Stevens Show. Thank you, Retro Matti.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
And good night.